I wanted to share with you a photograph that I became quite taken with, I would say obsessed with, excuse me, in the late 90s. After the book A Clearing in the Distance was published, it was like a biography of Frederick Law Olmsted, the American landscape designer or landscape architect. And Olmsted, he lived like, it was like 1822 to 1901 or something, lived 80 years. And he did an incredible amount of design work. I mean, all these iconic places like Central Park, um, one of the public parks in Boston, Stanford University's campus, Biltmore, um, and on and on. The carriage trails in Acadia National Park in Maine, and so when I believe I first saw this photo in that book, Clearing in the Distance, and I just became obsessed with it. I ended up visiting his this house in Brookline, Massachusetts, and this house, it was his home, and he had a studio there, and you can tour it. I think that the National Park Service runs it. Um, and I ended up purchasing a print of this photo, which hangs in my bedroom. Um, but I wanted to share this because it's an incredible example of literally merging uh, structure with plant or nature and into a like a fused form, right? And of course, this is common in England, right, with the ivy covered buildings. But I feel like there's something a little different about this because Olmsted really let it get wild, right? So you can see it's just like exploding out of the house, and it's lapping up over the roof, you know. Um, and I used to used to fantasize about being inside, like being in one of those inside one of those rooms and looking out the window and seeing all the ivy, feeling like I was in the jungle or something, But to me, it was just a breathtaking example, and I realized I felt later on at a subconscious level what really was fascinating me is it represented for me the merging of thought and feeling, right? And the structure, meaning the architectural structure is the result of man's thought, and at an unconscious level, a plant or a vine is representative of feeling, and he was literally merging those two to create a whole, right? A holistic um, unity in this form of a house. But after a few years, I noticed something else, and I feel it's harder to see here, but in the print that I have, I feel it's clearer. But this is this plant. I don't know what it is, but to me, it's like a massively overgrown fern, and it has very long leaves. And I begin to feel that Olmsted very carefully chose that plant because it mirrored the slats in the shutters. So if you look at it, you can see this central piece of wood as being almost like the stem, and the slats being the leaves of the fern, and that's what the fern is. You have the stem and then the leaves coming off, and these are long leaves. And when I looked at the print photo, it looked like they were almost like visually they looked like they were the same width as the slats. So, and I do believe that Olmsted designed at that level of subtlety. I noticed, for example, when I visited Stanford University a few times, um, the color of the sort of like, I think those stucco or frescoed buildings are painted like an ochre, yellow ochre that has a lot of black in it, you know. And I felt that some of the trees that he chose to line the streets there had a yellow blackish tint, like undertones to the leaves. And I really believe he was that much of a master of design, that he did things at that subtle a level. that would have an unconscious effect that maybe the average person wouldn't notice, you know. So anyhow, just wanted to share this in case anyone else finds it as fascinating.